Steven, do you feel like in the radio business, when people claim something or
Mm.
bet their career on something, that they should own that? And what I'm getting at is Chris Mad Dog Russo. Did you see this?
Did I?
Okay. For those that don't know, he said that if the Arizona Diamondbacks win Game 6 and 7 to advance to the World Series, he would retire. That
From
happened.
radio. From radio.
He didn't clarify, but whatever. So he's on TV today doing his thing. Then he goes on with Howard Stern. Howard Stern suggests that he first suggested that he give Mike Francesa a hand job, and he was like, "I'm not doing that."
That's a very Howard Stern recommendation.
He's like, "Hey, you maybe should do that."
And Robin's like, a hand job.
That's actually a pretty good impression. Then they settled on him wearing, I guess, an Arizona Diamondbacks bikini, and he has to walk around with "I'm a douche" as a sign.
Does anyone need to see that? Like, I get it, paying off bets and doing all that stuff, but nobody needs to see Mad Dog in a bikini. Nobody needs to see that.
I don't want to see it either, and it doesn't really make up for what he claimed. So my whole thing is, radio hosts do this all the time. They say, if this happens, then I'm going to do this. He was adamant that the Arizona Diamondbacks were not going to make the World Series. So you got to own that, dude. You can't change that.
Right.
So to me, he should retire because he put his reputation on it.
Yeah. Yeah. With conviction, too. I agree. It's such an old school radio thing to do, though, because nowadays in radio, it's going to be caught by that Twitter account called Back After This. And then they're going to post it. You ever seen that? At Back
No, I
After
haven't
This?
actually.
Yeah, it's like one that posts. It basically makes fun of Francesa, Mad Dog, and Colin Cowherd. That's what they really dedicate their Twitter page to. But yeah, they didn't have that back in those days in the 80s. So only the people who actually listened would hold him to that. But now he's got literally everybody holding him to that. He's got the Twitter audience, the X audience, anyone who's seen that through social media. So he needs to pay off his debt, man.
I agree. I think it was weak ass move by old Mad Dog Russo, but he doesn't care. He'll eat a gummy and he'll keep living his beautiful life.
Get half a gummy. Wear my red glasses.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Just Your Opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa. We got a lot to get to today. Good Lord, do we have a lot to get to? All three sports. Huge news.
Yeah.
Games being played for football and basketball.
Uh-huh.
And something that I thought was not going to happen, Bob Melvin becoming the Giants manager. Yeah. I said to you, I don't think that Bob Melvin would leave the Padres to go take the Giants job, and I am a fool because that's exactly what he did. We will get to it. You were there at the press conference today. We'll get all to it later on.
Real quick.
Yeah,
before we get to anything, I hate how I reacted to this earlier, but we'd also be remiss here. I don't know if you've heard about what's going on right now in Maine, but there's been a huge mass shooting. Guys gone to several locations. It looks like the latest is that 22 have been killed with dozens wounded. And that was like the last update from a few minutes ago. He went to several locations in Lewiston, Maine. This includes a bowling alley. They're calling it a mass casualty event. And he's at large. There's a manhunt going on. So it's just, I think my reaction to it really stunk because just Jesse mentioned it. I was like, oh, gee, it's not even it's not even a shock factor anymore. It's not even like a surprise. It's just like stuff is just so prevalent nowadays. It stinks. So, we are doing this podcast, but we're going to try to provide some laughs and everything, but just with heavy hearts as is going on right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I was not aware of that. So thank you for bringing that up, Stephen. It's, I hate the thoughts and prayers thing because that just becomes so, easy to say these days. This shit needs to change. And I don't know what the change is, but
yeah,
That's
Yeah, like that's the thing
awful.
is none of us know really what the solution is. We think we know what the solution is, but even if that one solution, which is, gun control, which is what a lot of people talk about, even if that happens, who knows if this stuff would just stop altogether. But it's just way too much of a common deal in our society, and it just sucks, man. Sucks.
Absolutely. I remember 2 years ago, Steve Kerr, after what happened in Uvalde. Was that with the location in Texas?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that was a powerful day when the Warriors and Mavericks were going to play in that Western Conference Finals, and he screamed, "When are we going to do something about this?" So
yeah,
I'll echo Steve Kerr what he said 2 years ago. And it's sad that nothing has changed since, but there's no easy transition, so we'll get to it, and
yeah, yeah,
we're thinking about those people. That's awful.
yeah.
Um, but in more trivial stuff, sports
Hmm.
will make everybody laugh.
Yeah.
Steven, um, what which game are you more? Which one do you have more to say about? Because you lost, I beat you pretty badly in picks.
Oh God.
Um, it was a weird week in the NFL. A lot of upsets.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I'll just come out right and say it. I did not watch a ton of NFL this weekend. I caught the condensed version of the Raider game. And I obviously watched the Niner game because it was Monday night, but I was on my way home from Portland on Sunday
Yeah, how was
morning.
that?
So I was driving. Oh, it's great. Dude, anytime I go to those things, I'm like, or I've never been to Oregon's before. I've been to like a Stanford football game. But Stanford's like a dry campus. But like Oregon, you go there, it's like, damn, should have gone to a football school.
Yeah,
Like, it seems so cool to go to the student section. You go in for free, then you just walk back to your apartment or house, and then you just go to a football game and you can just walk down. But I don't know, Portland, it's just a different type of place, man. It's different, but it was awesome. Had a great time. The Duck game was great. The Cougars, and actually the Ducks didn't play all that well, at least to start, and then eventually they started to kick things into gear a little bit and actually started putting up some points. But I think it was only like 3-0 for a while, and everyone had like the over in this game. But it's so cool, all the traditions that they do. The duck mascot driving out in a motorcycle. Um, they have this really strange song, which is like, "I left my heart in Portland," and then at the end of the third quarter, because Animal House was filmed there, they start playing "Shout" from Animal House, and everyone like actually gets into it. Shout doesn't work if not everyone's bought in. You know what I mean? If you do it at a wedding, it's like it's cool if everyone's in, but if there's like only just a small portion, it doesn't hit the same.
what movie resonates more with you when it comes to Shout? Wedding Crashers or Animal House?
Mm, I'd say Animal House. I really would. Yeah.
I would say it's a tie. Excuse me. I would say it's a tie because I think of both.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I think of Animal House, I associate it with Oregon. And yes,
But
Ernie's. It does make me think of my UT days. But I'll be completely honest. I only went to two games. My 3 years. Yeah, my 3 years at UT.
what?
Yeah,
Why?
the waiting list was ridiculous.
Really?
Yes,
So
and a
what?
lot of
You
my
had to.
friends weren't football fans. I went here or there, but I tailgated pretty often, but actually going to the game itself, I think I went to two games my whole time there, which
Damn.
sucks. But the team wasn't good. The team was not good. It was, I mean, like, UT football. It's an experience,
Right.
but the year that I got there was when they lost the national championship to Alabama. And then everything went downhill after that. Mac
Okay.
Brown left. It just went shitty. So I didn't
So
miss.
this was
I didn't miss a lot.
this was post that national championship and pre Sam Ellinger saying we're back. You were right in the middle
Oh,
of it when you
way,
weren't back.
way, way well before Sam Ellinger saying we're back. I had the really bad days where it was Charlie Strong. Yeah, it was bad.
Wow. Only two. What was the waiting list like?
I was bad, dude. It was. Phew. You had to like have season tickets, and I didn't feel like doing that because my friends weren't like willing to go every week. So I would go here or there with people that were interested. The waiting list just to get individual tickets. I mean, usually it was like a lot of Craigslist shit, but the waiting list was ridiculous. I don't remember the time frame, but it's kind of like getting into Lambeau Field if you don't have season tickets.
Damn.
Yeah,
I guess that kind of makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Especially in
well,
Austin, there's nothing else going on sports wise, so
yeah.
everybody goes to the games.
Everyone plans their whole year around it, but no, the Ducks game, the Ducks games are sick because you cross this bridge, you go over this river, and then you're just like on campus. Then you cross the bridge, then all of a sudden you're off campus, and you just have this beautiful stadium right in front of you. It's not too over the top. It's simple. You just walk right up. You get to your seats. You can head onto the field after the game, and really cool, really cool. Plus, I love the
Nice.
people in Portland. All the employees just seem like happy to work there.
Oh yeah,
Like here in California,
coffee, donuts, and strip clubs,
yes. Yes, dude.
and bookstores.
A lot of bookstores. Shout out to Portlandia.
Yes.
No, like they just have a different vibe over there. So love Portland, love the city. But back to the original point. I did not watch much. I did not watch much NFL on Sunday. Listened to the Raider game on the way home, which was good Lord. And then just seeing the condensed game. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But the thing, my biggest takeaway, even though I didn't watch any of these games, is I am more confused now about the state of the NFL season in 2023 than I have been all year long. Like I see the Bills lose to the Patriots.
Yeah.
The Colts are the only team that's put up 20 points every game so far this season. Obviously, the Niners lost to the Vikings. That's true. Dove Kleiman. Then the Niners lost to the Vikings.
Are we really relying on him?
I might have to. The Niners and the Niners losing to the Vikings. Like there's nothing that's I'm sure of anymore. And then obviously the Eagles beating the Dolphins, and the Eagles might be better than we thought. It's just a lot happened in week 7, and I missed out on a lot of it.
Yeah, but where I really killed you was a lot of the upsets in the second half of the afternoon games. Got that Pittsburgh game right, got that Denver game right, got that it was an earlier game, but got that Giants game right. Okay, just to clarify what Dove Kleiman said. They've scored 20 or more points in every game.
Yeah, the only team to do that this
Yeah,
year.
he's right. He is definitely right.
Whew.
Damn, I hate when he's right. Which game are you more passionate about, the Raider game or the Niner game?
More passionate about?
Which result do you have more to say about?
I'd say, I mean, as far as like the bigger picture, I'd say I'd have more on the Raider game, but as far as like the actual game itself, I'd say the 49ers and Vikings, if that makes sense.
I'm going to give you the option since you lost pretty badly in picks. Which game do you want to start with? Because regardless, you're going to have to eat, sauce.
Yep.
And then give a take. So which one do you want to have a clear, conscious mind for?
I'd say the 49ers.
Okay, so you want to start there?
Yeah, let's start Niners and Vikings.
Okay, Monday Night Football. Niners and Vikings. Simply put, Vikings played better. Kirk Cousins may have had the best passing performance against the Niners defense, not named Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen. I think those two guys, when I think of great performances, maybe even Drew Brees in that one game, but he lost. But when I think of great performances against the Niners defense, I think of Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, and I think of Josh Allen on that Monday night game where he just fucking zipped right through him. And then they were dealing with a lot of injuries that year. It was the 2020 COVID season, and a lot of guys were injured. But regardless, Kirk Cousins was, with the exception of that interception he threw, I think, on the first drive with Charvarius Ward. Besides that, Kevin O'Connell had a masterful game plan. They didn't run the ball very effectively, but they didn't have to. When the pressure was there, Jordan Addison was catching passes. Even Brian Powell, not a lot from KJ Osborne, but Jordan Addison established himself as another great Vikings wide receiver. The game turned when Charvarius Ward went to go get that pick, and Jordan Addison ripped the ball away and ran back for the touchdown right before half too. And a lot of people are calling out Steve Wilkes because it was an all-out blitz. A lot of people are giving him shit, saying that this isn't the same defense that we saw a year ago. with D'Amico Ryans, and prior to that with Robert Saleh. Um, the game was there for the taking too. In the end, I just thought that the Vikings really had a very good game plan defensively and offensively. We saw weaknesses in the Niners secondary, but the truth of the matter was the game was there for the taking. Their kicker
Yep.
missed that field goal at the very end. It was set up for Brock Purdy to go win the game once again, and he didn't get it done. Now, there's questions of whether or not he was actually healthy during those moments. Those two interceptions could be the result of him being concussed,
Yep.
because the story today is Brock Purdy is in concussion protocol. He started suffering symptoms on the flight home. His status for Sunday's game against the Bengals is looking unlikely. No player this year who has been in concussion protocol has been cleared by Sunday. So we'll see if that changes for Brock Purdy. But my overall thought, Steven, is just basically the Vikings played a better game.
I actually thought it was a well played game on both sides. Um, I just think like these games with the Niners, like it was a very well disciplined game. I think both teams only had 5 penalties each. Brock Purdy looked very good, I thought, through 3 quarters, but none of it was really translating to points. And even though Kirk Cousins looked great, it was translating to points, but not to touchdowns. Like the second half, you'd think by those stats, 378 yards, 35 of 45. He did look fantastic, but that didn't result in a touchdown. And I think that with both the Niners and the Vikings, and this might have been the key, I think, with the Vikings more so than the Niners, the Vikings really did not let the Niners run game get going, like, at all. That just stalled anything they were doing. Like the Niners like to move the ball downfield, sustain drives. They don't necessarily need this big explosive plays. They don't need them like the Miami Dolphins or the or the Eagles, even, for that matter. They just want to methodically move the ball downfield, and I thought the Vikings did a really good job of that. Brian Flores has not gotten enough credit for what he's done with the Vikings defense. I think he saw it like really within the first couple of weeks of the season. I remember noticing on that what was it, Monday night with Vikings Steelers? I think it was Monday night, or whoever the Vikings were playing. I can't remember now. But no, it wasn't Vikings Steelers, because the Steelers played the Browns. I forgot who the Vikings were playing, but I remember
Thursday night against the Eagles?
that might have been it, because Brian Flores, the way that he was running the secondary, like, it's just, they look different,
Yeah.
and now that secondary came up with 2 huge picks against Brock Purdy in the fourth quarter. But I didn't look at it as the Vikings like completely outplayed the Niners. I thought their quarterback outplayed them. I thought their run games were kind of similar. Obviously they got that big catch and run by Christian McCaffrey late. I think the Niners were missing Jalen Moore a little bit, but both quarterbacks, I think, did a good enough job to avoid getting sacked as much as they possibly could have. Obviously, the Niners only got sacked once. Cousins didn't get sacked at all. I think he was tied for the season record by any quarterback, 45 attempts without getting a sack. Like, there's only one other quarterback who's been able to do that this year. So credit to him. But I thought it just came down to a couple of plays, man. And really what it came down to was the fourth quarter, and the fact that, the defense made more plays than the 49ers defense did. I thought the 49ers defense actually looked kind of vulnerable in this game.
I agree. I thought it was probably their worst performance of the season. But even saying that, they only allowed 22 points. I think a lot of people are, there's a lot that has to be worked out with a new coordinator. And while D'Amico Ryans took over for Robert Saleh, he was there in that system for a while. He was the linebacker coach, so he understood, the system. And Steve Wilkes is coming from a different system. He had a great, you know, interim head coach record while he was doing the Carolina Panthers job a season ago, but there's still things he has to work on. And Nick Bosa even said it himself, like, he was gone for most of training camp, so now he has to get back to speed. I think he only has a couple sacks on the season. And also that secondary, Charvarius Ward's a great player, and Diamador Lenore got a few interceptions this season, but they are vulnerable in that spot, and that's probably their weakest, unit as far as the defense. Um, Other things that came up in the game, Jake Moody missed another field goal. I'm not really concerned about him because he came back and hit, like a 54-yarder or whatever it was later in the
Yeah.
game. He's not always going to be in a dome. There will come a time maybe where he has to make a game-winning kick to win a playoff game. But also, when you have a rookie kicker, you kind of can't have him in those situations. Like I said last time, The 94 49ers had a rookie kicker, and they never had to use him. So that's the predicament you're in. Now,
Yeah.
it could come bite him in the ass later on. What I really noticed, though, was Brock Purdy struggles. He had a pretty good game, except for the 2 interceptions on those drives. And maybe he wasn't feeling well. But it's apparent that when things aren't perfect for him, perfect, that maybe he needs to learn how to adjust on the fly. He had a great play where he ran out of a sack for a first down, and I was like, that's a great run by Purdy there.
Yeah.
But he also has to adapt when Trent Williams isn't playing. I think that hurt them in the running game a lot, and pass protection, because Danielle Hunter got him on that sack where it looked like a fumble, and then some people are saying that he hurt himself on the QB sneak where the linebacker came in and just crushed him. Could be that. Could be if you see him on that play where he fumbles the ball. It looked like he was fumbling, but his knee was down.
Mm-hmm.
His head whips back in his helmet really violently. His head doesn't hit the turf, but his head whips back where you could say maybe he did get concussed like that because your brain is going so far back in your skull that
Right.
it's a violent motion. Um, but what he really missed Debo Samuel in this game because they
Yeah.
were bringing the blitz. No one blitzes more than the Minnesota Vikings, and on those slants, I'm surprised they didn't do it more with Ayuk, but they could have used Debo Samuel a little bit more, just beating those blitzes. So
Yeah.
overall, it's a bad loss, and you don't know what's going to happen this weekend. If Brock Purdy can't play, Sam Darnold may have to go, and you're looking at the Bengals coming off a bye. Things are starting to get a little not great for the 49ers right now.
My name is getting slandered on the chat right now. I got the last dab ready. I'm going to break down the Raider game after the
I thought we
last
made that pretty clear. Come on,
dab.
Jesse.
I thought we did, but Jesse started this rumor that I'm the new Mad Dog.
That's actually pretty good.
This is unreal.
Yeah.
Cooked. What did I cook last night? Chicken and dumplings. Anyway.
Ooh. Chicken and dumplings or chicken dumplings?
Chicken dumpling soup.
Okay.
Back to your Moody thing. Moody missed a 40-yarder, had to make the 55-yarder. In that mode, that's the first time this season where I didn't see Kyle Shanahan trust the offense. To me, you're on the Vikings 37, 4th and 6. I think you can get 6 yards with this Niners offense. And to take a rookie kicker and have him kick a 55-yarder when he already missed a 40-yarder, like, forget the points or whatever, but I mean, just going for it. I thought personally going for it on that 4th down. I was kind of surprised they went for the field goal instead because it's not guaranteed that you're making that kick. 55 yards, huge number. I don't know if that's more him not trusting the offense or maybe having more trust in his kicker, but I thought Shanahan would have been a little more aggressive than that in that situation.
You're referring to when the score was 22-14 and they went to kick the field goal to make it 22-17.
Correct, yeah.
I didn't hate it because the offense was sputtering for most of the game, and Christian McCaffrey was fine. He looked fine to me. It was just, didn't get a lot of help in the run blocking game. He had a great, touchdown catch and run. I didn't hate the decision. Now it could have backfired in his face pretty badly, but the fact that he made the kick, I was able to look the other way. Now,
I didn't hate the decision. I just thought, in my head, I'm like, I thought he might have gone for it there. I had that going in my. I'm not saying like, oh, it would have made or broke the game. Like if he would have went for it, then the Niners would have won. I'm not saying any of that. Just kind of surprised. Normally in that instance,
but not every time. I think there are appropriate times when you should go for it. Case in point, Josh McDaniels. When you have limited amount of possessions you'll have left in a game. I can't say when the field goal was taking place, but the Niners knew they were going to get the ball back. So I think there's nothing wrong. Just because you're down by a possession, it doesn't mean you have to go for it every time. So if you can cut it closer and potentially win the game, then it's not a bad decision in my book. What lost them the game was Purdy's 2 interceptions, but also bad defense, relatively bad defense. For their terms, bad defense. I will say this. It was a moot point because Christian McCaffrey scored on the drive, but this is what I'm talking about with Purdy. He needs to be able to take a game over and not just follow what Shanahan tells him. And I'm not saying he does that every play, but it was apparent here on that 3rd and 1 where they lined up. and they were just going to snap the ball before the 2-minute warning. They were
Yeah.
waiting for the Vikings to jump off sides. 8 guys were on defense. And again, McCaffrey scores on the drive, so it's not that big of a deal. But when you see that, great quarterbacks, especially Aaron Rodgers, snaps the ball, boom, I'm throwing a strike. When you noticed 8 guys, you're missing 3. When you noticed 8 guys, Kyle needs to get in his headset or someone needs to say, throw right now, throw. It's 3rd and 1, you miss it, okay, go for it on 4th and 1. When you have 8 guys on defense, you got to take advantage of that.
Yep. No, that was. I mean, that's just a second year rookie or not a. That's just a second year player mistake.
Yeah.
Then, man, I'm not like I'm not really changing my tune on the 49ers, but I do think that in the past couple of games, you're seeing what could potentially hamper them when it comes to the playoffs, which is you are, after all, Brock Purdy's been fantastic, not trying to take anything away from what he's done, but you are entering the playoffs with a second year quarterback, and damn near every decision that they have to make in the playoffs has to be perfect because one mistake can absolutely change the game. Case in point, what we just saw against the Vikings. And then with a rookie kicker, like I know Jake Moody's Mr. Calm, Mr. whatever they're calling him, but he's not Mr. Reliable like Robbie Gould was. And I do think that I'm personally I'm gonna stay concerned about Moody until I actually see him make it through the playoffs. There's not really much he could do to change my mind through the regular season. I need to see him do it in the postseason. Really, like I'm gonna always be concerned about that. That's not even gonna be like a discussion point in my book. But yeah, those two interceptions that Purdy threw. That's exactly. I know he might have had concussion symptoms at the time, but that's exactly what Garoppolo would do constantly. It was just these timing throws.
Yeah.
Jimmy just got a lot of them wrong when he was with the 49ers, and the timing really way off. I don't know on that first interception. I don't know if Purdy was just waiting for Jawan Jennings or whatever to make a play, or to run the route, to break out of his route, whatever it was. But yeah, those were 2 pretty bad interceptions, very Jimmy-like in that sense, but Jimmy's, of course, the only thing we have to compare it. And of that interception, or excuse me, the touchdown that could have been an interception by Jordan Addison and Charvarius Ward, did you get a sense that Kyle Shanahan was pissed at Steve Wilkes in the post game?
Oh, 100%. And he didn't even
Man.
hide it. I think he even said today, he said he knows that he messed up with that call. Kyle is very, I want the defense to make sure that they don't fucking score.
Yeah.
Like I remember last year he called out Bosa for not getting enough pressures. I'm sure he's motherfucking the defensive line this whole week. Drake Jackson is kind of in the doghouse. Someone on the text line here said that they think that Ronnie Bell's in the doghouse. I don't know about that. I think he's just maybe a young player. And
yeah, he's just a rookie. They got a lot of
exactly.
receivers to work with. But to the point though, that's Ernie. Ernie 2, Ronnie Bell and Kyle's. I mean,
I would say no. I think he's just learning
give
the
it
offense.
give it another week. Give it one more week without Debo and see what they
Is
do.
Danny
here.
Gray still in the doghouse though? I haven't heard that guy dude's name in a long time.
He's still on the team, huh?
I guess.
Wow.
Yeah. That didn't pan out. Yeah.
Huh. I didn't even think about
Anyway, yeah, I didn't even think about that too. Jesus. Turning into the Jalen Hurd of the Niners, which he was on the Niners. Yeah, I would say there are some growing pains with the defense right now, but Kyle, I mean, he has high expectations for the defense. He wants the defense to be just as good as just as good as the offense. Like I said, I still think 22 points is not the end of the world, but for their standards, it's a little high. And that's been the case the last 2 weeks. They have not been great against the run, especially against the Cleveland Browns. They more so in this game, they did all right against Alexander Madison and Cam Akers. But where would you have the Niners right now, Steven, in the NFC?
God, man. See, this is where I'm so confused. I don't know anymore.
Well, that's the thing. I thought they were the best team of football, and right now I can't say that because they're going through a little struggles here. Eagles keep winning, and especially when they trade for Kevin Byard, I think that's a huge move. I think I don't think people are talking about that enough. They needed a safety. That was the weakest point of their team, and they got an all-pro safety right now for nothing. And the Titans are probably going to go in a fire sale here, hearing about Derrick Henry and DeAndre Hopkins. Can't wait to go down that road again. But yeah, I think it's the Eagles, and I know Niner fans are not going to like that because for the most part, the 49ers have dominated the first 5 weeks of the season way more than the Eagles did. But the Eagles have been more consistent. They've won most of their games, and the Niners now are struggling. And I would even say, I mean, I think the Niners are better than the Lions. Bad performance by the Lions. We'll get to that later, but yeah, I would have it now Eagles above the Niners.
Well,
Just
again,
right now though.
you're gonna have to tell me about. It's funny. I see one thing on Friday. I think that Colin Cowherd says, "Don't be sleeping on the Lions to be the number one team in the NFC by the end of the year." Then they get their worst
Don't be
loss,
sleeping on the Lions.
or they get their worst loss of the season. But
Isn't that what he does?
I don't know. I don't listen to him.
Yeah, I rarely do. Or ever.
Yeah, and it makes sense that the Eagles traded for Byard because Byard is an interception machine. Great. It's always weird whenever we say this because we only use this for defensive players, but don't use this for wide receivers because wide receivers are expected to do this. But he has great ball skills.
He does.
That Kevin Byard. And the Eagles
Byard beware.
The Eagles only have 3 interceptions on the season so far. Ooh. And that's with the Rams, Patriots, Dolphins, and Browns. So actually, damn, pretty surprised the Browns are on that list as well. So that's, I mean, they got an upgrade, and I think the 49ers going to have to make that upgrade too.
I was just about to ask that. Like, you know, you're hearing rumors about Chase Young, Montez Sweat. They really didn't. I mean, if they won the game, you could have made the case like, okay, Vikings keep losing, you could trade for Danielle Hunter. But if they keep winning, or you know, they have all the reason to keep having him on the team. So I don't know, man. I definitely think they're going to make a move. They have $40 million in cap space. Whether it's a corner, they're not really a great cornerback market. Maybe a team like I'm just looking at guys that have 1-year deals left. That makes sense. They are the Bears. Jalen Johnson had a pick 6 against the Raiders. His name has been talked about trade discussions, but I don't know if they're going to be willing to move on from him. I keep bringing up Chase Young and Montez Sweat. Brian Burns is a guy that's out there too, but apparently they're not going to trade him. But Steve Wilkes knows him from Carolina. I do think the Niners need to make a move. I just don't know if it should be pass rush or secondary.
Yeah, that's where I'm really not sure. But their pass rush has really been not non-existent. It felt they were getting in the backfield a lot last against the Vikings. It's just Kirk Cousins made some unbelievable plays. Like we're so focused on the defensive line, not getting to the quarterback. But I think in this instance, you just got to give credit to you got to give credit to Cousins and what he was able to. Like he had dudes just in his face, and he was somehow completing throws. I don't know how he was doing it. Also, one thing that really impressed me in this game, but my God, is Jordan Addison good?
Oh yeah,
like. God, even as much as the Charvarius Ward one, like Charvarius Ward, his momentum was taking him one way. Jordan Addison's was going the other, and Addison had more control of the ball. I'm not looking at that and like, damn, he out-muscled him. Like, nah, it was just science, you know? That's what it came down to. Science
rules.
Inertia. Is that even applicable?
Yeah.
Whatever. But that came down to science. But one that really impressed me was the double move that he put on, I think it was Ward. The double move, which caused illegal contact, which caused a penalty, which caused him to make illegal contact within 5 yards. I think that's the rule, right? You can only make contact in 5 yards.
Correct,
and outside 5 yards you can't. Yeah, that route by Addison, I was like, damn, like the footwork. I'm gonna turn to your dad. The footwork. Seriously, I was very impressed by him. That's another mini takeaway.
Yeah. So I did think this. Kirk Cousins, great performance. Don't know if he's coming back to the Vikings, but Kyle Shanahan, you know, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. I'm just throwing this out there. I would not be the least bit surprised if, you know, he hit in free agency and he's like, hey, come be my quarterback again. Well, what about Brock? Well, Brock could do the Zach Wilson thing. He's still learning. Like, come on, he was the last pick in the draft. He could be your backup.
That could be a talking point in the offseason if the Niners don't go where they need to go.
It could be. I don't think it's very likely. And who knows? The Vikings could bring Kirk Cousins back. They draft a quarterback. They need a stopgap guy. But I mean, Kirk Cousins is way better than that. But I don't know. That did cross the back of my mind where it's like Kyle went all in on Brock, and now Brock's struggling a little bit. But it's only 2 bad games. Let's see what happens.
Did you happen to hear in the fourth quarter when Kirk had his classic voice crack?
No, I did not. Was he Mickey Mouse?
It was so funny. Yeah, it's classic.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Kirk does it. Yeah, dude. Yeah, he was like.
All I know is, man, the power of Creed. The fucking power of Creed.
It's working.
The same night, Rangers win the AL pennant. Vikings win. Can you take me higher?
Oh. Total missed opportunity not bringing out the boombox with that song.
Yeah, I agree.
So the 49ers could be without Brock Purdy next week.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
it's actually pretty likely.
So Trent Williams is questionable, but he has a high ankle sprain. Like, do you really want to play him again? Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, I mean, have you seen that Bengals pass rush? Like,
Yeah.
We're talking about Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase kind of struggling for most of the season, but those guys have been getting after quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Sam Hubbard and Trey
Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson apparently is a crazy person, like a Derek Wolfe type, like that type of crazy, where it's like.
Was Derek Wolfe crazy?
Yeah, he like threatened Tom Brady and told him he was going to eat his children.
It's a solid threat.
So scary when you're like.
Can you imagine that? After the game, just picks up his kids.
I'm gonna eat your children, Tom.
Tony Robbins hungry.
Yeah, Lou what's the defensive coordinator's name for the Bengals? I love his name. Lou Anuramu.
He's definitely got a name.
Lou Anuramo. I think that's his name.
Something like that.
So that's Anarumo. Yes, Lou Anarumo. Ooh, that's going to be a tough matchup.
Lou Arumba.
That's going to be a tough matchup. And Sam Darnold, sure, he might be
seeing ghosts.
He might be okay, but I don't know. Kyle Shanahan strikes me as the type that isn't going to play him the same way that he would like Brock Purdy. I don't think he'd give, as much of a leash as he does for Brock Purdy and kind of letting him make his own plays. I think it's going to be very, very precise, just very, all right, 2-step drop, get rid of the ball. Don't even try to hang on to it.
You say that, but he's always like Sam Darnold, and he did look impressive at times in the preseason.
Yeah.
I think he would run the same type of offense he would with Brock.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of Sam could do it. So we shall see. One thing for sure, Deebo Samuel not playing. He's out until the bye week. So we will see about the Niners.
And the Bengals coming off their bye week.
Yes. That's it's even if Brock Purdy was not concussed, I was kind of this is why the Niners should have won that game against the Vikings, because I've always circled this game as a potential loss. Just short week, Bengals coming off a bye. Recipe for disaster, to be honest. All right. Raiders. Get the hot sauce ready here, Steven. And by the way, before we get into Raiders, I'm going to do this because I've not been greatly affected. Well, I say that, but I haven't done. What's the other one I have? The Last Dab. So I have The Last Dab, and I have the Bomb, not Beyond Insanity, but the Bomb Evolution. I watched that episode of Hot Ones with the Pepper X, and I loved it because they had Chili Klaus come back, and it's now the world's hottest pepper. And I've been talking a big game on Tolbert Copes. I'll tell you what, Steven. This weekend, I'm buying the Pepper X sauce that they sell on Hot Ones, and I'll do that next time I lose.
So that's going to be the Triple X one?
The Triple X, yes.
Okay. I don't know which one this is.
The Apollo, right?
No, this looks like just the regular Last Dab. This is a mini bottle.
Okay. I think that's the original one.
This is like what LeBron looks like when he's holding a regular size microphone.
Yeah, exactly.
I forgot how much that makes me laugh. Just watching LeBron sit back and he's got the entire thing covered. Yeah, we play real well. Anyway, All right.
So yeah, I am.
Okay.
I don't know if I'll get it in time by the next time I lose, but that's on the agenda. I'm gonna have
You
Pepper X.
cocky son of a bitch. All right, here we go.
Oh wait, do you want me to go first, or do you want?
I'll eat it, and then I'll just get into it. We're doing the Raiders, right?
No, but you gotta. It's gotta be right after you do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me go.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, okay. Well, I'll ask you first.
Okay.
Is this a new low for the Raiders? And not even a new low in their organization. Is this a new low in the short time that Josh McDaniels has been head coach? Mind you, they lost to Jeff Saturday. They lost to Baker Mayfield the day after he was signed. They've blown multiple double digit leads. And now you can add this to the resume with Josh McDaniels. They lose to rookie quarterback, undrafted Division Two quarterback, Tyson Bagent, aka Teabag.
Nice.
New low.
For different reasons, other than just the actual game. But this is a new low. But for not, I'll get into it after I take this little dab here since I lose.
All right, do you want me to go first to give my spiel about the game, or you?
No, I'll go.
All right,
I'll
take it
go
away.
because I don't got much to say about it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hot. That is really hot. Okay. First off, before I get to why, there's a new low for the Raiders. As you can see in the little ticker. Oh, it hit the back of the throat. As you can see in the ticker, Raiders and Bears in a South Park episode. We've said this multiple times already. We've said this. We've said this. Fuck, man. We've said this multiple times. I say the little dicker.
It was close. It was close.
Dicker the kicker.
It's my
the
guy.
The little ticker. This was like that Raiders and South Park episode where they're in Little League and they don't want to play Little League anymore. They just want to spend their summers at home.
I'm sorry. I thought this was America.
Exactly. Bat Dad. You got Randy fighting.
Bat Dad.
This is like where both teams are trying to lose. Okay? And the Bears, hey, we're going to roll out a Division II quarterback. What do you got? And then Josh McDaniels is like, I'll raise you. Let me give you a veteran journeyman who hasn't won a game in 4 years. How about that? And not did they just lose to Tyson Bagent. Okay? They gave up 173 yards rushing to Deontay Foreman, Darrington Evans, Tyler Scott, Darnell Mooney.
Great Scott.
2 touchdowns to Deontay Foreman.
3
touchdowns to Deontay Foreman.
Game of his career.
It's not even a Bagent thing, okay? The
No.
Bagent, whatever. 21 for 21, 21 for 29, 162 yards. 160. Makes you breathe and like you can't talk.
Yeah, no, I got you.
162 yards, but a lot of it's dink and dunk. It was like an average of 5.6. He had a rating of 97.2, whatever. But the fact that they were getting gashed in the run game by the Chicago Bears, when it seemed like the Raiders were actually making strides in the run game, failing to make a tackle, and then just and only scoring 12 points on offense. What the hell is Josh McDaniels doing throwing out Brian Hoyer out there? He has no business being a starting quarterback. He needs to just be a filler, a guy who comes in if someone's injured. Can't start him ever again. And then on top of that, here's why it's a new low for the Raiders, though, because I actually think that loss to the Rams and that loss to the Colts, I think both of those were worse.
Yeah.
I don't know the order. Probably the Jeff Saturday one. That was pretty bad.
That was terrible.
Because you had Matt Ryan starting that game, and you let Matt Ryan run for how many yards for a first down to close that out?
No, I remember.
And then Baker Mayfield gassed you, but that was also kind of the turning point for Derek Carr and his time with the Raiders. But getting over it now. Got a migraine. The reason why this is worse, though, is because This is the first time I think I've ever seen multiple times in a season where a fan has straight yelled in the owner's face, telling him he needs to fire the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And the owner comes back and argues with him about it. It's like you had that one at the Chargers game, and then you had this one after the Aces won the championship, where some dude, I think his name is Vegas Ramon or something, or Vegas Ralph, known Raider fan, I guess. I don't know. Raider Cody posted it.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah,
Not a fan, but that dude held up a sign saying "Fire Josh McDaniels," and Mark Davis is seeing it right in his face.
yeah.
This is absolutely a new low, and oh yeah, they're about to trade Hunter Renfro when they absolutely misused him. So just a lot of things factored in, but that loss, 38-12 or 30-12, good God, man.
And good God, man, that was impressive, Stephen. Claps to you for going on that whole spiel while you were dying. Okay, it's clear that this team is not a defensive team because when you give up 30 points to that offense that has been struggling for most of the season, and I know they put up 45 points the previous week or 2 weeks before that against the Commanders, that's embarrassing. I'm sorry, especially against a rookie quarterback. And maybe they didn't know how Tyson Bagent was going to be used, but they were confused and they were not properly prepared for that game. Why wasn't Aiden O'Connell started? Okay, just screaming in anger, like screaming silently.
It hit the roof of my mouth.
Yeah, it'll do that.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Aiden O'Connell, why didn't he start the game? What's the whole point of this? Did you think that you were just going to have an early lead with Brian Hoyer and you could just milk the clock and play conservative football because your defense was going to keep you in the game? Once that fell out the window and you gave up 2 touchdowns quickly, 14-0, there was no way Brian Hoyer was going to get you back in the game. So I don't understand that whole thought process. You're trying to build confidence in your young rookie quarterback that actually played well in the preseason. He played well in that Charger game. Josh McDaniels' explanation after the game was, this isn't preseason anymore. No shit, you're trying to win games, so why wouldn't you start Aiden O'Connell? I don't understand that whole thought process. Devontae, look, I get it.
Oh.
You are one of the best wide receivers of football, if not the best, and you want the football. And this offense does not look good. Even when you were winning those last 2 weeks, you have higher expectations than this. But you can't go out there and complain about you're not getting the ball and then drop that pass on 3rd and goal. I'm sorry. And I know it wasn't the best pass in the world, but it was on his hands. It's not going to be perfect with Brian Hoyer. It's not going to be perfect with Aiden O'Connell. It damn sure is going to be perfect with Jimmy Garoppolo. Devontae Adams has gotten comfortable to the point where the passes have to be perfect because that's what he's used to with Aaron Rodgers. And now you just can't do that, man. You can't go out there and complain that week after a win and then drop that pass. I'm sorry. That was a bad look. So, all in all, pitiful performance. To lose to arguably, Steven, remember when you asked me on the last overreaction, are the Bears a better team than the Raiders? They clearly are now. I mean, that was laughable a couple weeks ago, but it's fact now. They kicked their ass. So at this point, and it's sad because we also were kind of expecting this. Like when we saw that Tyson Bagent was going to play in the game, we're like, that's a perfect Raider game, man. Rookie quarterback, Division II, gets his first start ever. We're all going to think, oh, this guy can't do shit. Plays the Raiders, has a great performance. And he's kind of got like a, who's dating Megan Fox? What's that dude's name?
Machine Gun Kelly.
He's going to have a Machine Gun Kelly thing going on, and we're going to watch him on Sunday Night Football because for whatever reason, Bears-Chargers was not flexed out. So everyone will watch that game and complain on Twitter, and everybody can just shut up and watch it or watch the World Series. It's your decision. If the World Series is on that night. I actually have no idea. By the way, that World Series matchup, we'll get to that a little later. Yikes. Or it could be interesting. Baseball fans will enjoy it.
Casual.
Making me sound like Colin Cowherd. I'm a casual. Yeah. I trade draft picks in baseball.
Easy there, Jason McIntyre.
So my whole point is, what are we waiting for here with the Raiders? Like, what's the silver lining? That they get better this season? Are we doing a competitive rebuild? I know everybody wants to fire Josh McDaniels, and I don't think they're going to do it. I don't, because I think this is all part of the plan. Not to lose, but this season was basically set up for failure, in my opinion. And
Yeah.
is it just looking forward to next season and hopefully getting the best rookie quarterback available? But then again, what's the whole point of Aiden O'Connell? I don't know what to look forward to.
No, you're in just as bad of a place as any team really is. Like even if teams are like tanking, well, at least you have some sort of direction where you're going for the number one overall pick. But it doesn't seem like this team is tanking right now. That's the worst thing. What's their direction? There is no direction. They're just zigzagging across the road with no actual destination. They're just going left. All right, we trust Jimmy. All right, we're going to go with this guy, and we're going to start to win games that way. Then they go right. Then it's like, okay, now we're going to get Josh Jacobs, and we're going to sign him to a one-year deal. All right, now the offense is back. We're trying to win games. We're not trading Devontae Adams. No, he's sticking with our team. We're not going to get any draft capital for him. Okay, well, that sounds like a team who's aiming to win. Right now, you're not winning. You're not doing anything except just making the fan base pissed. There's no direction, dude.
Yeah, I mean, there really is not much to add. It was a pitiful performance. I don't know what's going on with the team. I don't know what direction they have. Josh McDaniels is clearly being outcoached week in and week out. I thought this was going to be a slam dunk hire. It has not been. I don't know who they can replace him with because the last two selection of head coach were huge moves. John Gruden, Josh McDaniels, those were supposed to be moves that take him to the next step, and neither have done that. So I don't know. My answer with the Raiders at this point, I don't fucking know. I don't know what they're doing. I seriously, dude. Like at this point, like what is there to long for?
You know, it's funny that I was driving on Highway 5 just going south as I'm listening to this game. Like that's exactly where the Raiders are heading. That's exactly the direction. They're just on one road. They're just going south. They're going to spend the next 583 miles on Highway 5 until they finally reach their destination. Okay, that was just me. That doesn't work for the analogy. That's literally what it said on Portland. It's like, oh my God, there's 583 straight miles on Highway 5 going south. Good Lord. But
That's a hell of a drive. How long did that take you guys?
Yeah, it depends. It took us just about 10 hours to get up there because we made a few stops. Jesse needed to stop at the post office, and then we missed one exit to go to the post office. Then I got frustrated, and I was like, let's just go to the next post office. And then we went to the next post office, but it was way inland, and we took a little detour. Then we hit this little town called Gervais in the middle of nowhere
Ricky?
in Oregon. Yeah, it was spelled like his name. Yeah, but anyway,
I like Ricky Gervais.
yeah, took about 10 hours to get up there, but between 9 and 10 to get down because on 5 we ran into some apocalyptic rain. That's what I like to call it.
Oh, that's always fun when you're driving.
Dude, oh my God. It's funny because like I drove I drove all the way up, and then on the way down, I drove the first 5 hours, and then I had Jesse drive the rest of the way. And as soon as Jesse started driving, that's when the downpour, just torrential downpour.
Good move by you, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just sitting there.
I'm
just trying to keep up the vibes, with music.
Oh no! You are a better boyfriend than me. If I was in that situation, I'd be like, well, that sucks. Well, I'm taking a nap.
Yeah. Well, she did get a little mad at me towards the end because she was falling asleep, and I was just scrolling through my phone, just looking through NFL stuff. Any NFL stuff.
Damn right you are. It's a Sunday.
Yeah. But I kept up the vibes. Though. It was a good trip. But point being, like, at least I stopped somewhere. Like, if I was the Raiders, I would have just kept going on 5. I would have just.
I forgot where this analogy came from.
I just drove right down 5. Would have drove right down there with nowhere to go, and then just ended up in, I don't know, the Pacific Ocean or something in San Diego.
By the way, you were driving to Portland, but you needed to stop at a post office?
Yeah, Jessie had this thing she needed to return, and it had to be done by that day before 4 o'clock or something.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
To end the talk on the Raiders, I don't know. I really don't know. This is the weirdest construction of a team I've seen in quite some time. It makes sense with the Vikings. It makes sense with the Titans. I don't understand if they're actually trying to win or if they're doing a competitive rebuild. And I sound like a broken record because I brought this up numerous times. I don't know what they're trying to do. They have, it's kind of like the Rams, I guess, where they gutted their home team, but their whole team, but yet they have obviously players that stick out, and Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp and Max Crosby. Or, sorry, Aaron Donald. But with the Raiders, it's Devontae Adams and Max Crosby. And are they just trying to win with those two guys? I don't know. And I don't think the fans know. I don't think the players know. And it's getting frustrating.
Yeah. And you're doing a disservice to all of those players that you just mentioned because those guys have put everything into it. Like, think of Max Crosby, man. Max Crosby stays at the facility and just works out when he lives in Las Vegas. Although he did have his previous, problems in the past, so he wants to avoid all of that, and that's partially why he probably works out at the facility all the time and wants to avoid the temptation from Vegas. But either way, he's dedicating all his time. He could just be at home chilling with his dogs. You ever seen Max Crosby's dogs? They look so cool. They got one named dogs. They got the pit bull named Zeus, I think. I want to meet Zeus. He seems so chill. But you know where Max Crosby would rather go? To the damn workout facility because he wants to get ready for the season and he wants to be in the best shape of his life so he can help his team win. The only people who are ruining that, the coach. And here's another thing too. Patrick Graham. I want to draw some comparisons here. Like, think about Brian Flores, right? What he just did against the Niners. Vikings pass rush all over the 49ers. And he's just come in, instantly changed that defense like that. There are just certain guys who have that. I heard him compared to Wade Phillips in some sense, or a Vic Fangio type, where he could be brought in. You have some good players on the defense, but not like a defense that's just littered with talent. And you managed to make something out of it. Patrick Graham was meant to do that. That's why he was brought in. So, because that's what he did with the Giants. He had some pretty good, he had some decent pieces along the line. And, the secondary had some mediocre guys, but he turned them into a defense that I forgot what they did, but they held some of the best offenses to under 21 points in each of those games when he was with the Giants. And now you just gave up 30 points to a backup quarterback and backup running backs and Deontay Foreman.
Yeah. Yeah. And now they get to go to Monday Night Football with the Detroit Lions, who are coming off a terrible loss. And now the whole country gets to see what the Raiders do against them.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lions coming off a loss. That's exactly what you want.
A horrendous loss. While we get to quick hits real quick, and I'm going to go quick here because Steven didn't watch all the games, so I'll just get to the games that stood out from last Sunday. Lions got smashed by the Ravens, and I know that I say a lot of stuff about Lamar Jackson not being a great quarterback or whatnot. He played maybe the best game of his career. He ran when it was appropriate, especially on the 4th and goal where he did a play-action bootleg, ran into the end zone. But as far as throwing the football, it was beautiful. I don't know what he ended with stat-wise, but that was probably the best passing performance I've seen from Lamar Jackson. And he did it in the wind. It was incredibly impressive. So I give kudos to him.
He had 357 yards passing on 21 passes, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, a perfect passer rating, and he also added 36 yards of rushing too. So technically, he totaled 394 yards in this one.
Impressive. And as for the Lions, this may happen a few times where I still think they're going to be the team that wins the NFC North. I don't think the Vikings are catching them. But they may run into some games here or there where they get beat up because they're still learning how to win on a consistent basis. I think they're going to be good. I probably picked them to beat the Raiders, but kind of alarming the amount of points they gave up and how little they scored. They're also dealing with a lack of a running game. They don't have David Montgomery at the moment. They're running with Craig Reynolds and their rookie Jamar Gibbs, but they have the explosiveness of Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams. I still expect them to be pretty good when it's all said and done. As far as other games, the Bills, losing to the 1-win Patriots. Earlier in the day, Ian Rappaport had the report that while everyone is saying that Bill Belichick is going to get fired, he got a brand new contract before the season started. Now, if you're a Raider fan, you know that doesn't really mean shit because Jack Del Rio got a new contract and then was fired immediately. So anything could happen. But as far as the game itself, Mac Jones had arguably one of his best performances. Um, Ezekiel Elliott ran right through their defense. The Bills, I mean, they came back in that game and they could have won that game with some defensive stops. Their pass rush did not get to Mac Jones. You figure with Von Miller and Leonard Floyd, someone would cause havoc. Even with AJ Epineza, Gregory Rousseau, Ed Oliver, all these guys they have on their defensive front couldn't get to Mac Jones on the final drive, and they're dealing with injuries. They got Matt Milano, Tre'Davious White out. They start off really slow offensively the last 3 weeks against the Jaguars, against the Giants, and against the Patriots, and they need a lot of help because they have Super Bowl expectations. They have so many injuries on the defensive side. They're also struggling offensively. I don't know what they can do as far as making a move. Maybe get Derrick Henry, maybe get DeAndre Hopkins, but they're really struggling defensively right now, and that falls on Sean McDermott. And if they don't have a season where they at least go to the AFC Championship game, it may be time to look at Sean McDermott losing his job with the Bills.
Yeah, he's been there for 6 years. Nobody circles the wagons, though, like the New England Patriots. I'll say that.
That is true. That's what Chris Berman always says.
Mm-hmm.
Browns are impressive even without Deshaun Watson. And I don't know what the deal is with him. He, I guess, had concussion, but was able to go back into the game. I think Kevin Stefanski just can't deal with his turnovers right now and the lack of arm strength with that shoulder injury. He'd rather have PJ Walker in there, which is saying something. But they are impressive. They know how to run the football. And Myles Garrett, wow, that was impressive with the turnovers that he caused and the blocked field goal. Did you see those? Did you see those plays?
Yeah, that I'm feeling really good about the Myles Garrett deploy prediction.
No, that's not bad.
Oh my God, that blocked field, like that's just
that was
hell, man.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
How does one man jump off the left leg over a lineman, land on the right leg, and just not even break stride and just blocked?
You asked this question last week against who can make Trent Williams kind of look like a mere mortal. It's Myles Garrett.
Yeah,
that's the answer.
Yeah.
And the Colts should have won that game. Honestly, there was kind of ticky tack calls on the final drive for the Colts. Or sorry, for the Browns, I should say, on the Colts. But they won the game, and the Browns are 4-2, and Deshaun Watson not looking good. If they could survive without him and he could get right, they could be an interesting team in the AFC. Chiefs are still the best team in the AFC, though, bar none. Just like making the Chargers look foolish. They were on a short week. It was going to be a tall task, but Justin Herbert, man, he has regressed. That is apparent. He looks great on some throws. With the way the Raiders looked against the Bears, anything is possible. But the whole world is going to see Sunday Night Football with the Bears and Chargers. God awful game. But Justin Herbert has to go out there and perform. I know that his non-throwing finger is hurt, but he has not looked good, man. And I'm not really going to make much excuses for him. Kellen Moore, his new offensive coordinator, he's learning things, but there's no excuse for him anymore. I'm sorry. Like, he threw some bad picks in that game against the Chiefs. Like, balls are getting batted down. He's 6'5". Why are balls getting batted down at the line?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's not Bryce Young. Maybe there's this maybe there's like a regression to the mean here. When he was out of Oregon, not many had him pegged as an MVP type of quarterback, and I think you had him being an MVP this year, right?
I did, but he looked the part for maybe they made a bad move.
I wonder if they're seeing a regression to the mean. Is all I'm saying. Is like the average of what we were supposed to see.
Definitely, there has been a regression, but he played his best football with Anthony Lynn his rookie year.
Yeah.
And since then,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Eagles are the best team in the NFC. and said that earlier, but coming out with the Kelly Greens against the Miami Dolphins, they looked really impressive. Now, Jalen Hurts does look hurt, um, and he's looked hurt for most of the season, but it was apparent in this game. He had the fumble, he had the pick six, but besides that, they pretty much dominated that game. And it's clear to me that while the Miami Dolphins may have the best offensive football, when they play like, more physical teams, they're going to get beat up. And that's what I thought in this game. I thought that while they have put up a plethora of points this season, that offensive line is not great. And with Teron Armstead out, I thought that the Eagles were going to just knock the crap out of Tua, and that was the case. When he plays teams that bring pass rush and have good defenses, he's kind of thrown off his game. So that's what I see with the Miami Dolphins and with the Eagles. I, I don't want the Bush tush or the Beverly shoved outlaw because I think that's stupid, but it does kind of get redundant after a while. It's kind of boring. Like, I get it, you could do it, but like I want to see more with it. Like we've talked about it for a couple weeks now. I want to see some play action fake and a touchdown. But Nick Sirianni's fucking ruthless with that thing. He'll
Yeah.
do that. He'll do that on his own 30. Like we give Brandon Staley a ton of shit for doing that stuff. To me, there's no difference. Nick Sirianni is Brandon Staley with a good offensive line.
Yeah. Yeah. But it works, right? So
It works.
like what can we really say about it? And a big number from that game, 10 penalties for the Dolphins compared to the Eagles 0.
Yeah. So that's what I take away from this last week of football. All right. Football done. NBA has begun.
Ooh.
And we got a little dose last night. Warriors started the season against the Phoenix Suns. 108-104.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Durant comes back for the first time with fans of the crowd at the Chase Center.
Yep.
No Draymond Green, no Bradley Beal. Chris Paul played well. It was kind of a weird shooting night for the Warriors in general. Not great. I think they shot like 36% from the field. Kuminga played well. Second unit played all right. They were in that game for most of it, but the reality is I can't really gauge this team without Draymond in it yet. And I can't really gauge the Phoenix Suns without Bradley Beal playing. So it's clear to me that the Phoenix Suns will probably be the better team when it's all said and done. But even though the Warriors lost, I'm not really disheartened from what I saw last night. But at the same time, kind of hard to gauge when everyone's not playing.
Yeah, we can focus on plenty of aspects of it, but when you peel back the onion and look at the layers, there's not much to it other than the Warriors just weren't knocking down shots. Like I thought it was just that simple. Like the Suns definitely came through with the huge hustle plays. Like Josh Okogie was fantastic for the Suns, I thought. And then, dude, I don't know how this happens every year, but I'm telling you, if Eric Gordon is playing the Warriors, he will randomly hit a three-pointer late in the game when he didn't do anything beforehand. It's happened with the Rockets. It happened with the Clippers. And now it's happening with the Suns. Like, of course, Eric Gordon was the one to hit that first three or whatever it was with less than a minute and a half to go in that game. I really just thought it boiled down to them not making as many shots. And I mean, they put up a ton and they just weren't knocking them down. I mean, if you look, it's funny that Kerr says, the offensive rebounds killed us. And then you look at the total numbers. It's like, well, the Warriors actually won in that category. It's just, they didn't get as many defensive rebounds as the Suns, but they had offensive rebounds when it was crucial. The Warriors did not. The Suns just played a better game down the stretch. It's something the Warriors are going to figure out. And I like the addition of Chris Paul, man. I think he really brings a lot of stability to that second unit, something that wasn't there. Like there's already more cohesion between the second unit in that first game than it took so long for the Warriors to gel with their backups last year. Like it took until like the end of the season, basically, for them to gel and finally like learn who they are. But this one, I feel like it's looking pretty good right now. And Moses Moody was awesome.
Yeah, Moses Moody had a great game.
And who knows if Jonathan Kuminga, if he makes those 2 free throws, who knows what could happen. That might change the tone of it because those were huge misses.
No, they were.
So I don't know. A lot to look up for in this game, but I'm not gonna just outright say that this is the fourth best team in California based on one performance.
No, I wouldn't say that either. We'll get to that in a
Charles
little bit here.
Barkley.
Is that what he said after the game?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's wait.
They're old.
Yeah, but they haven't even played. Like they're not even all playing. Draymond's doing a fucking interview on the sideline. Like no one
Jared,
knows.
they're old.
All right. Thanks, Chuck. Um, I will say Andrew Wiggins did not have a great game last night.
He had a terrible game.
Yeah. So all things that need to be worked on. The season's super early. I feel like we just had the finals a few months ago. It'll be fine. I think they'll be better than last year. I think that they'll be more focused than they were a season ago. I think that they'll be a better team on the road. I think that they'll rectify a lot of demons from a season ago. But will it result in a championship? We'll see. I don't know if they're a championship team, but I did like what I saw from Chris Paul. Kind of weird to see him out there in the CP3 chance.
Yeah.
It's just good to have a pro off the bench. And even though he started the game, you could tell that's what his role is going to be. So I think it's a good fit if he's willing to be unselfish.
Yeah, once Draymond gets back to the team, that's when Paul's going to be taking over there. And big credit to Devin Booker as well, because that guy was just, I mean, he just continues to get better and better. He could, like, I'm not trying to overreact because of one game. I'm just reacting to what I saw in just terms of his style and the way that he looked. If he plays like that, where he's not just a guy who's going to get a bucket, but he's going to move off the ball and also create for others, like, that's an MVP type of player right there. Like what you saw with Devin Booker last night. I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah, and then Kevin Durant was doing his thing. It was good to see the Warriors fans cheer him on, coming back for the first time with fans in the crowd. And yeah, I think the Suns are going to be a very good team. You know, made really good additions off the bench. Grayson Allen starting. It's weird to see because I hate him. But no, I think they're going to be a good team. I don't know if, you know, Frank Vogel, not the best coach in the world, but I think they're going to be a solid team. I will ask you this, though, Steven.
Huh.
Should the Warriors change their song after they win every game? You know what song I'm talking about? The Flow Rider song?
No.
The oh, sometimes I get a good feeling. Yeah.
Is it the original?
Yeah, they're the original Flow Rider song.
Oh,
Flow Rider.
The Flow Rider? I don't need the Flow Rider. I need the Avicii.
Oh, the original version of that song?
Yeah.
Well,
Levels.
Here's why I bring that up. There's a commercial that's playing now with that song playing. For Menopause.
Oh.
Yeah, like that song's been playing for about 8 years now for the Warriors. We could probably switch it up now. You've seen it in Menopause commercials.
Well, what's your suggestion then?
I would say like in an East Oakland rap song, but they're not there anymore, so I don't know. I suggested this without really having another suggestion.
I'm thinking of Sexy Red. Ski. Or
what the hell is that?
Or Ice Spice. Or
these are songs I don't know, Steven.
Or I don't know. I'm just kidding. These are the new rappers now.
I felt so old last weekend. I was out at in North Beach in San Francisco getting some drinks, and the bars were all playing these songs, and everybody was like singing along to the lyrics, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck this music is.
What was it? Don't Stop Believing?
No, it was just like the new rap songs, and people I was with are singing, and I'm like, God, you guys are just, you listen to fucking TikTok rap music now,
bro. It really boggles the mind. I don't get it. I don't get any of it.
I agree, but what we should get to is our NBA season predictions.
Ooh, all right.
By the way, have you been watching Wembanyama at all with the Mavs?
I saw him walk to the bench.
I have not. I've not been paying attention to what's been going on in the NBA tonight. What was the earlier game? Knicks and Celtics.
He's got 6 points and 5 fouls, so not doing great.
Ooh, that's not great. Who won the earlier game? Celtics did.
Yeah.
How did Porzingis do in his debut?
I don't know.
Let me look. Well, I kill time here. By the way, I heard the new broadcast team of Mike Breen, Doris Burke, and Doc Rivers.
Uh-huh.
Not off to a good start. People are saying that Doc Rivers' voice is annoying.
Oh, really?
Did we not think about that beforehand?
Shocker. Porzingis put up 30 points, which is the most ever in a Celtics debut. How about that?
Okay, well, that may help with my prediction here. All right. By the way, second team broadcast team that I'm hearing on the Mavs Spurs game with Ryan Ruocco, JJ Redick, and Richard Jefferson.
Uh-huh.
That's going to be a good team.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the number one team going forward.
Yeah.
But for now, it's bang Doris and Doc Rivers. Let's go to the Western Conference. Steven, 1 through 10. Yes, we're including the play-in teams. How do you see this conference stacking up?
All right. This one, I'll just go through it quickly. It's not going to be much different than last year. So I got Nuggets 1, Suns 2, Warriors 3, Kings 4, Grizzlies 5, Lakers 6. Then at number 7, I got the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Ooh.
Moving in at 7, going from the 10th spot in the play-in to the 7th spot in the play-in. Then after the Thunder, I got the Dallas Mavericks. Then I got the New Orleans Pelicans. And then I got the Minnesota Timberwolves at number 10.
At number 10. Ooh, disrespectful, some would say.
A little bit.
All right. I think the Denver Nuggets are probably the best team still in the NBA.
Yeah.
But because they had such a long postseason and because of the additions that the Phoenix Suns have made, I'm taking the Phoenix Suns to be your number 1 seed in the West. Number 2, Denver Nuggets. Number 3, I got your Golden State Warriors. And at number 4, I got the Los Angeles Lakers. At 5, I got the Clippers. I see, for whatever reason, I can't give you a reason why because they really didn't lose anybody, but they didn't make additions either. And I think they were the 3rd seed last year by default because there was not really a lot of great teams in the Western Conference. So I'm putting the Sacramento Kings as the 6th seed. Is that what's shocking you right now? What's with your face?
I forgot the Clippers.
Oh yeah. See,
crap.
But it's hard. I'm losing like. I'll get to it right now.
Crap.
Okay, well rethink your Clippers, where you're inserting them. Because you're talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder, but honestly, I don't see them making the playoffs. I know they're a good young team, but with the other teams in that conference, I don't have them on here because I can't make room for them. So the Kings go to 6 because of the injury to Steven Adams and because Sean Morant's going to be gone for 25 games. I'm putting the Memphis Grizzlies as the 7th seed, a play-in team, if you will. Then I got those Timberwolves at 8. I got the Dallas Mavericks coming back from whatever happened a season ago at number 9. And then I got the New Orleans Pelicans at 10. Then you want to change your seating now with the Clippers?
Just put the Clippers in 5th and then just move everyone back. Kick the Minnesota Timberwolves out of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I like Anthony Richardson a lot.
You mean Anthony Edwards?
Sorry, my bad.
Football.
Yeah, I know. That's on my mind.
I just think it's going to implode.
All right. In the Eastern Conference, what do you got? This is kind of easier.
Let's hope I didn't forget any teams. Jesus. All right. Number 1, Celtics. 2, Bucks. 3, Cavs. 4, Knicks. 5, Sixers. 6,
Whoa.
Heat. 7, Bulls. 8, Pacers. 9, Nets. And 10, I got the Magic.
Where did you have the Sixers?
I had them at number 5.
Okay.
I think the
like
Cavs and Knicks are going to be better. How
Okay.
about that?
I like that. No, I like it. I still think, I'm with you. I like the first 2 spots. I like the Boston Celtics at number 1. I like the Milwaukee Bucks at number 2. Kind of weird what's going on with their head coach and what happened with Terry Stotts a week ago. You saw that where he left the team.
Oh, yeah.
And he was Dame's head coach at Portland.
Yeah.
Kind of weird. Anyway, I got Miami Heat at number 3. I got the 76ers at 4. Don't know what's going on with James Harden, but it sounds like he's going to play in tomorrow's game. Cleveland Cavaliers at 5. The Atlanta Hawks at 6. New York Knicks at 7. Chicago Bulls at 8. Indiana Pacers at 9. With our man Brucey B. And number 10, I got the Toronto Raptors.
All right.
Yeah.
The Raptors. That's an interesting one.
So when it's all said and done, Steven, who's playing in the NBA Finals?
So in the East, I got the Celtics and Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals. Pretty simple. Everyone kind of has them, but I really don't think I think they're just a tier above everyone else. And then in the West, I truly believe this. I got the Denver Nuggets, and I got the Warriors. I think this is a Warriors year. I think they got the depth. I really think they're going to short things up. So I got the Nuggets and the Warriors and the Celtics and Bucks. Ultimately, I think it's going to be the Nuggets versus the Bucks in the finals, and I actually have the Nuggets winning again. Like, I think they're that good.
Nice. I have something very similar, obviously. I got the Celtics and Bucks playing in the Eastern Conference Finals. I got the Suns and Nuggets playing in the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
I think just the familiarity that the Nuggets have with each other, Suns, new coach, bringing in Bradley Beal. I think it takes another year. I got the Nuggets beating the Suns. And the same kind of thing with the Celtics. Even though they brought in Porzingis, even though they brought in Drew Holiday, I think that just having the familiarity of all the guys that are there, Jason Tatum, he's my pick for MVP this year. Jaylen Brown. Who's the guy that who's their head coach? The Celtics.
Oh God, you're putting me on the spot here. Joe. Good God. Oh, what's his name?
I know. I want to say Ime Udoka.
Hang on. Joe Mazzulla.
Joe Mazzulla.
I was going to call him Mazzudo.
There we go, Joe.
Spell Rizzuto.
Yeah, him being in his second season, I got the Celtics advancing, so it's going to be the Celtics and Nuggets. And it's going to be a good series, but I got the Celtics beating the Nuggets. Yep.
God, it's so boring whenever we have these predictions. Are we going to have something like the World Series right now where we have the Diamondbacks and Rangers where nobody guessed what was coming?
Well, do you remember what you and I picked? We both have the same prediction for the World Series.
I mean, what was it? Braves and...
No.
What was it?
No. Prior to the playoffs, what was our before the season predictions?
Oh, I don't know what our before the season predictions were.
You and I picked two teams that didn't even make the playoffs. We thought it was going to be an all New York World Series, Mets versus Yankees. just goes to show.
Oh, we suck.
I know. So that's why just your stupid predictions, man.
Why do we do these?
Yeah, what do you think about this D-backs Rangers series? What you think it's that funny? Jesus.
Why are we so bad at that? Both New York teams. Oh my God. They sucked.
We really went on a limb there.
They sucked. All right. Oh boy. What do I think? No, I'm really looking forward to it. I understand the idea of what people are saying. There's no interest, there's no allure with these two teams. But look, man, I think with Bruce Bochy and what he can do with his pitching staff and the Diamondbacks, their bullpen seems to be what's rolling right now. And they just got a lot of young, fun talent. Like, I love Corbin Carroll and Christian Walker. He's hasn't been flying under the radar. If anyone's been paying attention the past couple of years, the dude has so much power. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great series. I think they match up really well. And the fact that, like, both teams, I think it's like the fewest combined regular season wins for World Series opponents ever.
Probably.
Which is crazy to think about, but I think it's going to make for a compelling series. And Wembanyama just hit a huge shot down the stretch in the fourth quarter. But no, I think it's going to be great. And it's going to come down to how they handle the pitching staff. And right now, I think the Diamondbacks have the upper hand. But I mean, I think it's going to come down to a lot of coaching, and it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it is. Although I will be honest, I was kind of like Chris Russo. I was like, I didn't want to see the Diamondbacks in the World Series. I kind of wanted to see the Phillies or Rangers play each other with the names on the Phillies. The only guy that I know on the D-backs is Corbin Carroll. Besides that, I mean, yeah, they're a good, young, fun team. Rangers have a lot of talent. I'm probably picking the Rangers to win the series just because of Bochy and the talent that they have on their team. So I'd probably say Rangers in 5.
Yeah. I mean, I had the Rangers winning it all with our pre-playoff predictions. So I'll take the Rangers in. I don't know. I'll just take them in 7, just to hope for a 7-game series.
So how are Giants fans going to react if Bruce Bochy wins another World Series? Obviously, Farhan and him didn't mesh well, so he went on to retire for a little while and then came back and immediately is back at the World Series. But does the events of today take away the sting a little bit?
I think so. A little bit. Doesn't take it all away, but I think today does. Yeah.
I would agree. So, Steven, tell us. Well, let's set it up. I did not think that Bob Melvin was going to leave, especially after AJ Preller had his press conference where he said, Bob Melvin's our guy. Ooh, Webanyama.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
impressive, actually. All right, we'll finish this up so everybody can see the end of this thrilling game. 5 minutes left. But there was a point in that press conference with AJ Preller where he was asked directly if the opportunity comes up for Bob Melvin to interview with another team, would you grant that? And he dodged the question. Most GMs, if they're happy with their situation at manager, would just say absolutely not. But he was like, no, we're not going to get into that right now. Things could happen, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that's not a no. So, but
Right.
then it went away, and they interviewed different people. I thought Stephen Vogt was going to get the Giants job for a little while. And then on Sunday, while I'm watching NFL games, I see the report come from Andrew Baggerly. They have granted the San Diego Padres have granted permission for the Giants to interview Bob Melvin. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, he's gone. He's going to be the Giants manager. And I asked a ton of Giants fans, do you really think that Bob Melvin wants to leave the Padres to go coach the Giants? And you saw today in the press conference, it's a dream come true for Bob Melvin. And as an A's fan, I am more than happy for him because he gets to come home. He's embraced every Bay Area team. He was all in on the A's when he was managing the A's. Now he's all in on the Giants, and he is a Giant. He's a hum baby. I totally respect that. But I will say this before I get your thoughts, because you were there at the press conference today, Stephen. I think it is incredibly stupid that the San Diego Padres just let him walk. This isn't like the A's, where they knew their situation and they just wanted to have Bob be happy. This is incredibly bad business. And I know I'm an NFL guy, but in the history of coaches going to different teams, no one ever just lets them walk away. When Bill Belichick did not want to take the Jets job, he had to be traded for a first-round pick to go to the Patriots. Same thing with Gruden. He had to be traded for 2 first-round picks. That's always been the case. For a division rival in the San Diego Padres to just say, yeah, we hate Bob Melvin, just let him walk. That is so fucking stupid to me. If I was AJ Preller, I would have been like, you can have Bob Melvin for Kyle Harrison. And then that would have been the starting point. But they just let him walk. I think that's terrible and stupid business.
Yeah. Well, this is what's interesting with hiring Melvin, because he is a future Hall of Famer, probably as a manager. I think he's like one of, I don't know, I think 8 guys who have won at least 3 Manager of the Year awards. I think there's like 5 other guys who have won 3, and then there's 3 guys who have won 4. I just think that he's the type of manager, if you bring him in, then the people higher above the GM understand maybe what they have. And I think Bob Melvin proves that it's not the team's fault. It's the front office's fault, depending on how the season goes. And with the Padres, it's not Bob Melvin's fault with the way that how things shook down. It's the fact that they just spent money on all these guys with no real leader in the clubhouse. And if you read all those articles with AJ Preller, it's like Preller would say one thing, and then Melvin would tell his team something completely different because what he thought Preller said was stupid. I don't think that's going to happen here. But I think what this is it truly is the last year for Farhan and a test for Farhan.
Is it though?
To see if this works out. Yeah. Because, I mean, the one thing at the press conference that stood out, it was kind of awkward, but someone asked, like, Farhan, you still have 1 year left on your deal? And he didn't really know the answer to that. And Greg Johnson's kind of like, well, you know, like they didn't really answer the question.
No, but they did, though.
What'd they say?
Did you miss this part?
Where? What?
In the press conference today. You were there.
Which part?
The biggest thing was Bob Melvin's getting a contract through 2026.
Yeah.
Greg Johnson said Farhan's getting extended too.
Huh?
Did you miss that part?
When did that happen?
Oh, that was a big deal today, my friend.
Really?
Were you too busy trying to think of a question?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Hmm. Oh
He
wow, I did miss that part. How about that?
Yeah, so this was the big sticking point to Giants fans today. And I know our guy John Curley was upset. He got the benefit of the doubt for bringing in Bob Melvin.
Yeah.
So Farhan will be extended 2 more years.
Well, then there you go. Um, move on. I thought that the way Melvin came away, though, in that press conference, it wasn't like Kapler, where he's just doing damage control through his time with the Dodgers. And at the same time, Kapler was just always trying to sound smart, like the smartest guy in the room. And I don't think he did it out of a place of like hubris, out of a place of I'm better than you. I just think that he did it because that's who he is, but I don't think it's very relatable. And I don't think it was very relatable to the players. At sometimes you just need to boil it down to I want to win and we want this team to win. And we are going to teach these guys to be leaders of men. And that's what Bob Melvin is bringing right now. And considering they extended Farhan's contract, that will be interesting moving forward. But I think starting with Bob Melvin, I think that's absolutely a home run hire. Like, I don't think there's many better guys for the job, especially for playing in his hometown team or managing his hometown team, the team he grew up rooting for, the team he once played for, though he did note in the presser that he didn't really play all that much when he was. God, I must have been sending a tweet or something when they mentioned that.
Oh
I
yeah, that
did,
was that along with Greg Johnson saying we want to break even was the
that
biggest.
was the one I was like, ooh, I did hear that one. Maybe I was
Yeah.
sending, because I did send a tweet.
Well, you and I were texting.
Damn.
I did text you once during the press conference, and I won't say what I said in your text, but
Yeah. No, I thought I absolutely made the right move. Like I think Giants fans should feel a little more confident heading into this season, especially seeing what he's done with the A's. It's funny when they talked about him being a effective recruiter and they all wanted to um, ask about that in free agency, but he's like, I worked with players within the system. Like I haven't done much in terms of acquiring free agents. And I think he actually works with a team that doesn't really have he works better with a team that doesn't have a ton of those big free agents. Instead, just has a bunch of young guys who still need to reach their potential.
yes, I mean A's fans know he gets the best out of not a lot of talent, but that he knows how to build talent too. Obviously, he had what was it? He'd been to the playoffs 6 of 11 years while he was with the Oakland A's. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's impressive, and obviously Bob Melvin was kind of the scapegoat for a lot of things. I remember the playoff game where he started the opener with Liam Hendricks. I don't think that it was. I do not think that was his call. I think Billy told him to do that, and it's clear that while him and AJ probably did not get along, like Bob still wants to manage a team. Like he said in the press conference today that analytics are a big part of the game, obviously, but he still, there's still some things you can't compute. There are things that you have to, set up as a manager. So I think Farhan will give him that freedom. And it's clear that him and Farhan have a great relationship together from their days with the Oakland A's. So I can't say anything bad about this. I think it's a
Yeah.
slam dunk move. Now, will it translate to free agents? I don't know. I think Blake Snell has a big chance of coming to the Bay Area to be a San Francisco Giant. Does that mean Shohei Ohtani comes? I don't know. But I think that the negotiations are a lot better when it's Bob Melvin in the room as opposed to Gabe Kapler. I think that's a fair assessment because I think a lot of players were turned off by him.
Yeah. Like the thing I like about it too is Melvin's not all over social media. Like, and I'm not talking about like Kapler can do whatever he
Bro,
wants.
I just made a great breakfast scramble after post workout.
He could do whatever they want, right? He could do whatever he wants on social. I'm not worried about the posting, but when you're posting, what you can also see are the responses, the replies to people, how people are talking about your team. And I don't think he would have admitted it, but with the way that just everything was going for the Giants this year, there's no way that Kapler didn't at least see some of that stuff that was being put out there about the Giants, just about the way that they run their team, how they handle themselves on the field. That weird moment with him and John Brebbia at the end of the season, like these different little things. And then also at the same time getting every woman and single woman across the Bay Area messaging him on Instagram.
Damn right.
You know what I mean? Like I like the fact that Melvin doesn't have a social media account that he's
Yeah.
always paying attention to. There's that, and it just he's a baseball guy through and through. And it's not to say Gabe Kapler wasn't, but Gabe Kapler also had other things on his mind, like food reviews,
Yeah. I mean, you got to find a good place to get a burger around here or some coffee.
coconut oil. What?
I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
That was my biggest thing when he got hired. It was like, oh, the coconut oil guy.
Yeah.
He was all about the coconut oil. And I will tell Giants fans this too. It sounds like Buster Posey has a big pull in the organization now. So things might change for the better. Because that was his first year under ownership, and he didn't like what he saw.
Yeah. That actually made me laugh. That wasn't like a fake laugh just to kind of fluff up the joke. I did find that funny. Like he's like, I never talked to Buster Posey the entire time until now.
Yeah.
I actually found that pretty funny.
I think Buster's going to be very hands on in the ownership group, and I think he's going to be reaching out to free agents himself. Uh, I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with the Giants going forward.
Especially the Diamondbacks being in the World Series.
Well, that's a big thing I thought today was they make this move the day after. You got the Dodgers in your division, you got the Diamondbacks in your division. Padres still have a ton of talent. I don't know what they're going to do manager wise now, but they got to compete. And then there's Bud Black and the Rockies. Love Bud Black, but
yeah. Then there's the Rockies. I mean, you want the Rockies are basically like the Raiders.
oh, don't say that. But yeah,
Nah,
you're right.
they're not
Yeah,
really.
that's probably accurate.
No, they're not.
Yeah, actually, that's probably more appropriate than your whatever Portland Road analogy you were making.
They're just on Highway 5 south to
Yeah,
nowhere.
yeah, yeah.
They're on Interstate 5
Didn't land.
south for nowhere, heading to nowhere.
Yeah, okay. Anything else, Steven? I think we covered it all.
The Mavs are up 126 to 119.
Should we do awkward play-by-play of this?
No, but they're at a timeout. But something I did want to mention, though, just I didn't get to on Saturday, but after the Aces won the championship, I watched a lot of their press conference afterwards.
The parade?
No, the press conference, like the
okay.
immediate post-game press conference after they won. And
with Kelsey Plumlee?
No, she wasn't a part of it. It was Asia Wilson. I can't remember the other one's name, and then Becky Hammond too. But though they were just up on the stage drinking the entire time, having the best time. And it's the guys nowadays, like in the NBA, they kind of go up there. They'll talk their talk, but they don't look like they're like having too much fun. They're kind of more trying to get out of there. But like the WNBA players were just sitting there drinking champagne. And at one point, Asia Wilson, who's known as one of the great WNBA players like that we've ever seen. I mean, a budding one. She's 27 years old, which is crazy to think about. She's already a 5-time All-Star and 2-time MVP. But she was just drinking champagne the whole time. And at one point, she just like sits still. And then you just hear her talk off mic when Becky Hammond's giving an answer. And she just looks at her teammates and goes, I can't see straight. And then she just goes back up and starts drinking more. It was so funny. Anyway.
That's always a good time when you win and you can just say whatever you want.
Yeah, I just recommend that if anyone has, 10 minutes of free time, go look up WNBA post-game press conference finals and just watch them have the best time up there because they're
minus Mark Davis dancing.
Yeah, I don't need to see that.
No.
Don't need to see that. I'm not talking there was no Mark Davis involved here.
Good.
No. It was just Becky Hammond, Asia Wilson, player whose name I'm forgetting off the top of my head. Feel kind of bad. He's one of the starters. It is what it is.
No, but it's always fun seeing people get drunk in those parades, those press conferences.
Yeah.
Or whatever you want to call them. Especially like Michael Malone. Like it was funny to watch him last night after all the shit he said. Like, get loud. We're bringing Brucey B back. Oh, yeah. Can't take that shit back. And then like him going back to mile manner coach after he wins last night. He's like, well, Nicola. Like he just turned it back on again. He's like back to his normal self.
Who's your daddy?
Yeah, who? That Nuggets own the Lakers right now.
Yeah, man.
And honestly, the Nuggets are better than the Warriors. If they play in the playoffs, I would not be the least bit upset because they are a better team and they're not cocky and I don't hate them.
Yeah, yeah, they're great.
Yep. Anyway, I think that's it for tonight. Oh, I'll do this next podcast. I'll give you my review of the 3 hour plus epic Killers of the Flower Moon. Saw that last weekend.
I don't need no review yet. Well, we'll wait for that because I'm seeing that on Saturday afternoon. All right.
Fine, I'll wait then.
Was it good? Just say yes or no.
Yes.
All right, good. All right, that's it. That's all that needs to be said. Don't need to say anymore.
Yeah.
Jesse's like, "Do you want to go see it at the Grand Lake Theater?" I said, "No, I don't want to be anywhere near Derek when I'm watching."
Oh, come on. It would have been a nice outing with all of us. Although I'm
No,
not
they're
singing
not.
again. I'm not singing again. That's long.
They're not playing anywhere around here in the East Bay, or at least
Really?
more inland. Yeah, like Concord, Walnut Creek, Pleasant Hill. Jesse couldn't find any tickets.
At the Walnut Creek Regal?
That's what Jesse said. I don't know.
They closed that movie theater? It's one of my favorites.
They got it. They got it.
Check again. It's probably playing there.
All right. I'm gonna have a stern talking to here.
Yeah. You could trust your own Fandango, Steven. You don't need to rely on Jesse.
Unbelievable. I work for Mr. Fandango. All right, I'm going the old school route there. Nobody remembers those commercials from like the back in the day with Fandango.
The paper bags.
Yes.
Of course I remember those.
Oh, the old times when they actually used to play them in the movie theater. Now we just have Nicole Kidman giving you some corny ass speech about, watching.
Heartbreak feels like a good place like this. Tired of seeing that shit. Anyway, to the Ernies, to AJ Cruz, to all of you out there, thank you for watching and listening. And yes, I see you guys in the chat here. I know, Ernies, I don't respond always in the DMs you guys send. You guys send a lot of DMs. Just give me some time to respond. I have a lot of shit going on during October Cope, so I apologize if I don't respond to every little thing. But I always appreciate you guys coming on. We'll see you guys on Saturday. We're going to be on an hour earlier at 10 a.m. because I got to go to USC and Cal to do a little scouting for Caleb Williams, see if this guy's the real deal. So we'll see you guys on Saturday. Until then, Steven, say what you always say.
It's just our opinion, man. It's in Pleasant Hill. Oh.